Welcome to our latest Wandering Walks of Wonder tour. Today we're taking a tour of the Indiana Statehouse in Indianapolis. The Indiana Territory was carved in 1800 from what was called the Northwest Territory. This new territory contained all of what is now Indiana, Illinois, Wisconsin, and a big portion of Michigan and parts of Minnesota. The first seat of government for the Indiana Territory was located in Vincennes from 1800 to 1813. The seat of government was moved to Corydon, Indiana in 1813. Corydon was a logical choice at that time because settlers and supplies heading west would arrive via the Ohio River just a short distance away. Indiana became a state on December 11, 1816, and Corydon remained the seat of government. As more roads and development occurred in Indiana, the government was moved centrally here to what is now Indianapolis in 1821. In case you're wondering, the name Indianapolis comes from the word Indiana, which means land of the Indians, and the Greek word for city, polis. Until 1835, Indiana had no formal building in which to conduct the business of state. State offices were scattered across this new city in a host of houses and storefronts, and sessions of the General Assembly were held at the Marion County Courthouse. Finally, in 1835, a new courthouse was built at a cost of about $60,000. It stood what is now on the south end of the present house grounds. But in 1867, the ceiling of that house chamber collapsed. The damage was repaired, but it was determined that a new state house needed to be built. The exterior of this new state house was completed in July 3rd, 1886, and the first General Assembly to hold a session inside the building occurred in January of 1887. Our tour now takes us from outside the State House to inside. We're actually here on the main floor, which is the second level of the State House. And there we see, standing right in front of us and above us, is a beautiful stained glass dome. That dome is 72 feet in diameter and is supported by 8 granite columns and rises about 105 feet up from the floor level where we are here right to the top of the rotunda. Above the dome is another dome with yet a smaller one on top. The top of the copper dome is 235 feet above the ground. As we walk around here on the main floor, there are many statues from famous people in Indiana, as well as statues that represent such things as law, agriculture, commerce, justice, history, and art. There are also many busts as well as plaques that you'll see as we move around this first level. These are all statues of famous Americans and especially famous Indianans. As we walk along this first floor here, we're going to see several offices, one of those being the office of the governor. And a little bit later on here, we'll see the office of Secretary of State, the office of the Auditor of State, as well as the office of the Treasurer of State. As we head up the stairs here to the third floor, this is what I would consider to be the legislative floor. On this floor, we'll see the House chamber as well as the Senate chamber. Inside the House chamber is a large chandelier in the center of the room with 100 lights, one for each member of the House. That chandelier, when you take a look at it, weighs 1,200 pounds and can be lowered to desk level by pushing a button. There are also several statues around that we'll see, as well as small exhibits and plaques and busts of famous Indianans. Throughout the tour on this floor, you'll also see representations of the state seal. The seal itself has undergone many changes over the years. The earliest preserved specimen of its use so far as is known was when it was used at a petition in Vincennes during a convention in 1802. It really wasn't until 1963 that an official version of the state seal was adopted. There are many interpretations as to the meaning of the state seal of Indiana. One interpretation is that the sun that you see on the seal rises on a new commonwealth west of the Allegheny Mountains. The woodsman represents civilization subduing the wilderness, and the buffalo fleeing to the west represent primitive life retiring in that direction. There's another version, though, of interpretation that describes the sun setting in the west, a woodsman felling a tree, and buffalo leaving the forest and fleeing through a plain to the distant forest in the east. It's up to you, as well as many other people, to determine what the interpretation is of the state seal of Indiana. Also on this floor is the Supreme Court of Indiana, and the courtroom itself appears much as it did in 1888 when the Statehouse was completed. I hope you've enjoyed this Wandering Walks of Wonder tour here at the Indiana Statehouse in Indianapolis, Indiana. Make sure to hit that like and subscribe button, and we will see you on our next Wandering Walks of Wonder adventure. Take care now. Bye-bye.